It's been 3 years since the government of good governance was established. However, many question whether those who promised to bring an end to corruption have actually kept to those promises. After the 2015 presidential election, the 100-day government was established, and just weeks later, the bond scam took place on the 27th of February 2015. The governor of the central bank steered the bond auction to favor his son-in-law, and the immediate loss to the state from this scam is over 700 million rupees. A proper calculation has not been made as yet to determine the exact loss to the people of the country when these bonds mature in 30 years. Rather than bringing those accountable to book, the Prime Minister and those responsible in the government took measures to protect those involved in the scam, and this paved the way for another much larger scam to take place on the 29th and 31st of March 2016. The immediate loss from the second bond scam was over 700 million rupees, and the people of this country will have to bear the cost for many decades to come. While the masterminds of this scam are roaming free, the then governor of the central bank, Arjuna Mahendran, remains missing. Not only did they conceal Mahendran, they even had the audacity to implement the Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade Agreement that Mahendran intervened to bring about. The group that claimed they will convert the loss-making national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines into a profit-making venture made it an enterprise that has incurred a loss of more than 28 billion rupees, and it is the people who have had to bear the burden of these actions. This is the progress achieved by appointing Suren Ratwatte as the CEO of the company, and he is the brother of Charita Ratwatte, a friend and advisor to the Prime Minister. They have now appointed Ranjit Fernando, who has no experience in controlling an airline, as the chairman of the company, and the only qualification he possesses to run the airline is that he is the Prime Minister's friend. A project was launched to provide tab computers to school students, and the tender process itself was marred with many irregularities. It was the intervention made by the President that put a stop to these attempts. Serious doubt was cast on the free-of-charge insurance scheme introduced for school students as well, due to grey areas in the deals reached for that process. Billions were spent on the importation of dairy heifers for the farming community. No use is made of them, and while many heifers perished, the government during the past 3 years made the advance payment to import another 15,000 heifers to the country. It is now in the open as to how the wife of the Prime Minister's secretary made the order for the payment. Citing the construction of the Central Expressway must be expedited, a $1 billion loan was secured for the third phase of the expressway. This was in fact a commercial loan which carried a very high interest premium. The contract was handed over to a Japanese company, violating all the procurement guidelines in the country. Construction of phase 2 was given to local firms, while the loans were issued from state banks. One of the state banks that provided loans for the construction had also given loans in billions to one of the firms that in fact secured the contract for this project. A state bank had also issued a 10 billion rupee loan for that company, while the executive deputy chairman of the said company is also a director of the bank. Though it was said power plants are to be constructed giving priority to renewable energy during the past 3 years, they have failed to construct a single large-scale power plant. Rather than doing so, they renewed agreements to purchase power from private plants and even messed up the construction process of a 300 megawatt plant in Keralapitia. It is the heads of this very government that urged officials to make a payment of 400 million rupees for these private power plants by deviating from due process. What was done when they said an assembly plant of a leading car manufacturer, Volkswagen, will be initiated in Kuliapitia? They provided a factory for a local enterprise. They made allegations against certain people for maintaining the Dubai accounts during the Rajapaksa administration. However, after coming into power, they sold enterprises to this very individual and granted him tax concessions to construct a massive tyre factory in Horana. At a time when the President of the country is taking decisions for the betterment of the country, what in fact is happening? It is a flaw on the part of the people for allowing a person who only commanded a minority in parliament to be made Prime Minister just after coming into power, stating there will be an end to corruption. Once appointed as Prime Minister with no mandate from the people, attempts were being made to curtail the Following the revelations, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe resorted to make various promises to the party. Once, when his leadership was challenged, he appointed a leadership council and appointed Karu Jayasuriya as the leader of the council. When the challenges mounted, he pledged to appoint Ravi Karunanayake, Sarath Fonseca to the board of vice chairman, but eventually he appointed his close associate Akila Viraj Karyavasam as the general secretary of the party. Such leaders who govern the party and the government with friends and associates were rejected by the people not once or twice but on almost 30 occasions. Unusual attempts are being made to suppress the rising leadership. Vimal Veeravansa was used to criticize Sajith Premadasa in Parliament. Sarath Fonseca is criticized, while the political future of Ravi Karunanayaka was also destroyed. The people's faith is with leaders like Maithripala Sirisena, Sajith Premadasa, Navin Disanayaka, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Harin Fernando and Anurakumara Disanayaka, who are all suited to national leaders and future presidents. But what is happening now is that even when rejected by the people repeatedly, one person is clinging on to power by repeatedly lying to the people. But you can't fool the people. They know that those who are in power and those who are in power are on the same side. The ultimate loser in this game is you, the hard-working citizen.